let's talk a little bit about a factored form of a quadratic equation. So far, when you think about quadratic equations, what should come to mind is an equation that looks like ax squared plus bx plus c. But so long as you have something that will eventually turn into this, maybe with some simplification, you can still consider it a quadratic function. For instance, let's look at this function here. It definitely doesn't look like ax squared plus bx plus c, but with a little bit of algebra, we can turn it into that standard form of the quadratic. Let's keep that 1/4 out there, and let's distribute the x minus 4 and the x plus 5. So we end up with an x squared plus an x, right? Because you have minus 4x, but then plus 5x. And then the minus 4 hits the 5, you end up with a minus 20. And now let's distribute that 1/4 through. So we end up with 1/4 x squared plus 1/4 x minus 5. Now, this looks like ax squared plus bx plus c. So even though it doesn't look like it, this is a quadratic equation because you have two factors of x right there. You've got the x minus 4 and you've got the x plus 5. And when you multiply those two factors together, you end up with an x squared term. So it's a quadratic equation. Now, the reason that we like the factored form so much is because I can easily tell what my zeros are. If I gave you this form right here, you would probably jump right into the quadratic equation to figure out what your zeros are. But knowing that this is the same function, and also knowing that a times b equals 0 implies that one of them has to be 0, well, you've got a product of 1/4 x minus 4 and x plus 5. So if I set this equal to 0, and I look for the roots or the x-intercepts of this quadratic equation, I end up here, and the 1/4 is never going to be 0, right? It's 1/4, it's not 0. So this tells me that either the x minus 4 or the x plus 5 is going to be 0, which tells me that either the x minus 4 is the 0 or the x plus 5 is 0, which tells me that x is equal to 4, right? That's that 0 right there. Or x is equal to minus 5. And that's my other 0. So the factored equation, or sorry, the factored form of the equation is so nice because you can just look at each factor and ask yourself what's going to make that 0. So what's going to make x minus 4 0? 4. What's going to make the second factor in my quadratic 0? Minus 5.